FM News Talk 97.1.
On demand audio. You're listening to Allman in the Morning. Common Sense Radio.
Good morning, you bunch of drunks.
7:38, ladies and gentlemen, coming up, we're going to take your phone calls. I know you guys are loading the phones up with wanting to talk about the Koran burning and the Obama now running for president in 2012. That's not a surprise to anybody. Also, I'm going to bring you, as I promised, the 100 least influential people, although I'm not going to give you all 100 of them. I'll stick to the bottom 10 just to keep it interesting for you. Also coming up, we have the Gray Falcon joining us, the Red Meat Roundup, Rob Raines on sports. And, I picked up the Sunday paper, the Post-Dispatch, and was interested about the front page article on there about Lieutenant Governor Peter Kinder and traveling and hotels and all this kind of stuff. Spends time in St. Louis courtesy of taxpayers, and I go through it. I'm thinking, this is interesting. Well, the one thing I really gleaned from the whole thing is that, you can get a hotel room at the Four Seasons for $1.05. That's fantastic. I need to get a job like that.
Time there.
Lieutenant Governor Peter Kinder, always a pleasure to have you on the air, my friend. What's going on?
Good morning. Thank you for having me on to tell you all the things or some of the things that the Post-Dispatch knew and did not report yesterday.
Yeah, tell me about the one thing I know they knew is that you actually were audited, not once but twice, right?
I was audited twice by an auditor of the opposing political party who had every reason to turn up something on me. They did not mention these charges because I was staying at the lowest government rate. Wherever I was staying, there were times when the Hampton Inn, the Sheraton, the Renaissance Grand, or other hotels would charge a higher rate than the rate I was able to get at the Chase and, yes, that other hotel downtown that you just mentioned. Well,
that's why. For instance, first of all, just looking at the rate itself and why they offer those rates, if you're the Four Seasons and the Chase, you want people who are of high stature to stay there. You know, the Hampton guys, they don't care. So anyway, I can understand the rate. But
I'm concerned about how the taxpayers have a right to understand that their resources are not being wasted. The Post chose to focus on the hotel names in order to sensationalize the story. I drive myself around the state, Jamie, 50,000 miles a year in a private car. The state car has been parked for 4 years. I have not been turning in gas receipts for the last 4 years. So I'm actually subsidizing official travel out of private resources. This has been audited twice by Susan Monte. And where is Susan Monte today? Since she left office in January, she is the new chairman of the Missouri State Democratic Party. She signed off on all this. Reporters ought to ask her about her audit, which was published. The most recent of the two was published just in December, barely 100 days ago. I'm the only statewide elected official of the six of us who voluntarily offered a cut in my budget last year and took a 5% cut. Every year I've been in office, Jamie, I return unspent money to the state treasury. I have the smallest budget of any elected official, and all my travel came out of my office budget. I'm not doing what the governor does in offloading his travel onto departments like mental health. He's actually reducing, because of his flying every 3 days for 2 years, he's reducing the amount we have to spend on mental health and education, corrections, economic development, and everything else, because it's not coming out of his budget as it is out of mine. He has not been audited, Jamie. I've been audited twice.
Now, you have access to a plane, though, don't you, if you wanted to? I guess. I don't know.
In 6 years in office, Jamie, I have been on the state plane with others on 6 occasions. I haven't been on it since 2008.
So So basically, you're driving around the state, because I know you often are away. I mean, all you're doing is driving. I mean, you're traveling everywhere.
People knew they'd see my Ford F-150 pickup truck made in Kansas City, Missouri, and me in it, driving long hours. And I'm not complaining about that.
No, I know.
Let's go back to a comparison between the plane and a hotel. 1 hour in the state plane costs about $1,200 to fly. One night in a local hotel costs $105. it is typically cheaper to spend a night in a hotel than to bill round-trip mileage from one distant point to another in our state.
Which you're
this
not.
was a contract hit job in the Post-Dispatch. They spent 7 or 8 weeks on it. It was 2,500 words yesterday, Jamie. That's the length of a lengthy New Yorker magazine essay on the Vietnam War.
You know what's funny is that the 7 or 8 weeks. I mean, I've been an investigative reporter, and boy, I guess it'd be nice to have a job at the Post-Dispatch where it takes you 7 or 8 weeks to do a thumbsucker like this.
Yes,
I mean, honestly,
and a Democratic state representative last Wednesday sponsored an amendment which passed the House 138 to 19 that eliminates Governor Nixon's $500,000 travel budget and instead uses the money for education and dropout prevention in St. Louis. Now, Governor Nixon is being criticized by members of his own party on these, and you saw that vote, eliminating his travel budget, which he has abused, and it passed overwhelmingly in a bipartisan vote in the House.
All right, now let me run this by you though. Let's just for the sake of argument say, all right,
yeah.
So Peter Kinder, he's a frequent speaker at the Tea Party. This guy has fiscal responsibility written all over him. He's a guy who gives speeches about this stuff. This is his brand. This is his deal. Is there any way to actually keep the beacon off you by not doing this? But your argument is this is kind of my job. This is what I do, and you can cite the reasons why you were there each time.
We made a change this past week, Jamie. I have leased a condo in the St. Louis area, and so this is in the rearview mirror. I am henceforth not even staying at official government rates, the lowest government rate that I've been staying at to now. I will be saving the taxpayers even more money and even to a greater degree subsidizing my official business travel around the state of Missouri.
So you're leasing a condo and you're paying for it?
My campaign is.
Huh, okay.
It's a little bit more expensive than I can afford. But we have decided to put this behind us, and let's have some transparency in the governor's budget for the first time. Let's see him audited, as I've been audited twice by auditors of the opposing party who did not raise these issues.
Right, and the only reason you're doing, and again, here's the situation: you got to do this condo thing when actually it probably would be easier in the long run, and even from a campaign point of view. But the fact of the matter is, you realize in the end, sadly enough, that perception is everything. And so all they have to do is throw up a headline that says, Peter Kinder, Lieutenant Governor, Chase Park Plaza Hotel, luxury, boom. And it doesn't matter what the truth is. It just matters that they link all that stuff together and make you look like you're a bloodsucker. And,
instead of a guy who's paying the lowest government rate, $105, which is frequently a lower rate than you could get at the Hampton Inn.
I need to borrow your ID.
I have personal experience on that. I've recently paid $116 a night at the Hampton Inn.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Anyway, I'm glad you're able to defend yourself, although I do think that it's an egregious – although let's put it this way. I think it is – if they knew, and certainly they did, that you were audited twice, because certainly wouldn't they have referred to the audits? Because if I'm an investigative reporter, I'm looking at the audits to find out if I can have more dirt, right?
Wouldn't you think that in a 2,570 or 80-inch story, 2,500 word, they could have had one sentence? Kinder was audited twice by Susan Monte, who today is the chairman of the state Democratic Party.
Now,
wouldn't you think they could have mentioned that I turned back unspent money every year I've been lieutenant governor back to the state treasury? Ask the other 5 statewide elected officials if they've done that.
No, if they had done that, though, Lieutenant Governor, then if they had put those lines in the article, I would have actually put the article down and moved on to the sports section. That's what I. But that's so they couldn't put that in there because it blows the whole case out of the water.
That's correct. It was a search and destroy mission by the Post-Dispatch. And longtime readers of the Post-Dispatch are familiar with this genre, aren't we, Jamie?
Oh yeah. Now, are you a newspaper publisher?
I no longer am, but I spent 17 years in the newspaper business in southeast Missouri.
You would not have published this article without the questions being asked.
The other guy much more of a chance to get his story in. Now, it's true that I refused to talk to this reporter, but he had an extensive statement from my office. I was not going to talk to a biased reporter from a newspaper that was on a search and destroy mission for most of 2 months against me.
Yeah, all right.
But he had a statement from my office, which he quotes small portions of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, good luck with the condo. I mean, I guess you're going to have to do that now, but you're still going to be here. And
I am. I may be in St. Louis more. It's the economic engine of our state, and I will not apologize for the time spent all over the urban area.
All right. Lieutenant Governor Peter Kinder, we appreciate your time, and thanks a lot for giving the point-by-point refutation of
Thank you so much, Jamie.
What's going on with the article. Thanks a lot, man.
Take care.
All right, you take care. It's called Lieutenant Governor Man, didn't I? I should have done that.
Allman in the morning. Common Sense Radio.
$105 at the Four Seasons, though. I'll tell you that. That's awesome. Is there any way we could figure out a way to weasel that one? But it's good for them. Because you look at the Hampton Inns, those other ones, the Westin, those kind of things. They're not giving them the rate, and they're not getting the publicity. You know? 748 is Common Sense Radio.